How about? All right, let's try that. Did you get any noodles either? I don't know. Hopefully you got some noodles. Oh dear. You can probably hear me now. Looks like you can anyway. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. Good. All right. Well, anyway, it's great to have all 12 of you here. My dear bride was right. She goes, if you take 1 week off, you'll have nobody when you come back. I'm like, yeah, no. We'll get back to it. And thank you, YouTube, if you have been away for a while. I can say probably hello to all 12 of you. Got Michelle and Informally Hip. Hi, Don. Hey, Georgie, good to see you. Sue Finelli, Billingtano, Kelly F.E. Great to see you, my friend. Love on the Light, Francis Sage. And did I see Lungs in here somewhere? Fox Bear, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, we'll talk more about Rockven. We'll get that in there as well. Hey, Ronald Lee, great to see you, my friend. I think there's a package at the post office today. I think it showed up today. And I think I saw Karen B. earlier. So, I'll only have the true viewers. Well, that's really all I want, Don. That's what I'm actually very pleased to have a small channel. Because I watch some of the larger channels and I'm like, oh dear. All right. So this morning will probably be the last, although it was scheduled or at least promoted as a full episode, it'll probably be the last of the truncated episodes, and I'll explain kind of why that is and what's going on for all of you folks. So again, if you have been away for a couple of weeks, well, I have too, and as you probably are aware, I took to take a little bit of time off. Just to sort of get a better view on things, to try to redo my schedule a bit. I think I worked some of that out, not all of it, but some of it, to try to take care of some health issues. Moving forward on that, it's not done, but it's barely even taking steps. But this week upcoming is the first steps toward trying to do that through the medical institution. So we'll see how that goes. And then finally, I got a channel strike. Thank you, YouTube, for having played during a Poppycock report. We played a video showing, what appeared to be, again, I'm sure you've seen it multiple times by now, what appear to be magnets sticking to humans after they received a treatment, a gene therapy treatment, is what we're told. Masquerading as something else that, and that's partly what we'll talk about today. So we got that channel strike. So it's just one, and it probably would have only been a warning had I challenged the previous warning, which was actually, I did go off on that day, so I have no idea what's happening. But anyway, so the first channel strike, and then of course, as we look around you, on Sunday morning, I do Ancient Wisdom for a Modern World, and it would be remiss of me if I didn't pay attention to at least some of it, in which it says that a wise man sees danger coming and plans ahead, and the fool just keeps on going and walks right off the cliff. Well, clearly, even though we're not walking toward the cliff is coming toward us, and of course, we've seen it with a number of different providers, most recently. Flat Earth Fucker, Mac Barhar, lost his channel this last week. Seems to be a permanent deal. And so if you are not already aware, and if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the backup channel, which is it's called Poppycock Report. I'll try to get you a link here in just a moment. Drop that in the chat. So let me switch account to the Poppycock Report channel. And I will drop in this link for you. So this is a kind of a backup channel here. Should we be taken down again, you can go to this backup channel. But like so many people in our community who provide content, it appears to be that the handwriting is on the wall. And meaning that they're going to eventually prevent us from saying anything of value. I mean... So I think all of us have had to address, or at least consider, how we want to approach this. No, certainly none more so than, like, for example, Brian Stavely in chat. Fucking best, Brian! Who has had, 5, 6, 7 channels on YouTube now, as well as other platforms. I know Ceiling Fan Man, after having taken some strikes, has not only got a backup channel, but is now looking at Odyssey. And so I spent some time this week putting together a variety of different outlets on different platforms, and we're going to see how this thing goes. So I talked to the folks over at Rockfin this week, and Karen, you'll probably be happy to know that even though I did finish all the stuff, I tried to log in and get going this morning to send this signal over to there as well, and I was thwarted because they haven't instantiated my thing yet. So, but that is apparently coming. So I spoke to the folks over at Rockfin. We'll talk a little bit more about that and what perhaps some of the possibilities are with that, as well as a whole litany of things. So I instantiated some channels, including at DLive. Oh, let's see, where's the... Gotta find my whole list of stuff here. Let's see here, where we go. Here. So Odyssey, Rockfin, BitChute, Daily Motion, Restream, Twitch, almost a couple others. So I've got a whole litany of things, and I'm going to use Restream, I think, if I can, to push that all over the place. I actually had started to set it up this morning to do that this very morning with these two holdups. The first is that Restream doesn't have a way for me to punch in the Rockfin information, so I'll have to figure that out. If someone has done that already, let me know. Maybe Jason Lindgren or Rose knows how to do that. And maybe it just can't be done from Restream. I'll have to do it for some other platform. I can do it with OBS and using a virtual camera, but we'll figure it out. So, but I started prepping it this morning, and the one thing about using Restream is that you have to schedule more than an hour. And it was, I think, 8:04 when I tried to set them up, and so it wouldn't let me set up for a 9 o'clock start time. And I went, well, screw you. We'll just do YouTube today, and this will probably be the last of the YouTube only. Although I probably will continue to be a presence on YouTube for some time. I think this is how this is going to work out. We've talked previously about making channel memberships available on this YouTube channel, specifically for those who are interested in the communal living situation that I keep talking about. We're continuing to move forward on that. We'll have a little bit of can't do it from Restream without upgrade. Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. So, but I can upgrade. Probably planning to do that anyway. I just didn't want to do it without being 100% that it would do it. Because I tried that with the virtual audio cables, right? And spent the money on it and realized when I was reading the documents it wasn't going to work with the ASIO drivers that I use for the really high quality audio. So anyway, and then it gets downgraded as it goes through these compression algorithms anyway. So it goes through compression codecs to get to the broadcast. So by the time it gets to you, it's not any higher quality, I suppose, anyway. So couldn't find this stream on YouTube, even though you're subbed. I know it's odd, isn't it? Well, it's because they probably reset all my stuff after the channel strike. So again, this is the first broadcast following a channel strike from our friends at YouTube, who they assigned me for playing a video that had the word starts with a V, ends with an E, scrubbed from it. In fact, they had taken that out to prevent it, and we played that, demonstrating that, and again, we even said at the time, weren't even 100% sure at the time, it was the first time we were seeing it, whether that was legitimate or not. We just found it curious. And so, again, it's not a panic move. This is simply planning ahead. I think, again, seeing the handwriting on the wall, as we look more long-term, I think ultimately, if we're realistic and somewhat pragmatic about it, we realize that it'll be very difficult to speak to anybody but our own. And even then, coming soon, it may be increasingly difficult to even do that, to speak to those who are interested in, who are already on this side of the fence, right? It does seem that our opportunity to introduce people to some of these ideas is being more and more curtailed, certainly. But as part of that, again, just trying to plan ahead and diversify, It is likely that I will not, broadcast regularly on all those streams. Although I may. Who knows? It might turn out to be a thing. In terms of a marketing sense, if I were really doing this from a marketing standpoint, I would be that would be diversifying and kind of breaking up your own audience, and you don't want to do that. So you want to try to keep them all in one place. But as I was talking to the guys at Rockfin, and one of the interesting things there, of course, is that during my tenure here at YouTube, I have never once even gotten a personalized email from anybody at YouTube. Not once. Everything has been a form or boilerplate. Not so with Rockfin, although it did take me time to get to talk to them. I spoke with their head developer for quite a bit of time on Thursday, and I talked to the vice president of business development yesterday for a bit. So at least there's somebody you could talk to. We talked about some ideas, and I mentioned to them some things that perhaps that they might be in a position to be particularly well suited to create a niche for themselves in a changing market. Of course, they're competing with YouTube, and their premise is, and if you don't know anything about Rockfin, they were kind of started as I think their background is primarily wrestling, covering kind of the world of wrestling, which is, I think, how this community got introduced to it, because Jaron Campanella was kind of into wrestling and saw that it was a censorship-free, mostly, platform. They do have policies against, harmful stuff. And again, depending on your definition of harm, but as we talked about that, it seems pretty direct and straightforward. You can't advocate violence against anybody, do hateful things. That seems pretty straightforward. But once that connection was made, again, they have the opportunity, if they're not going to, if they're about serving the customer, and see, their position is they're looking at the money, right? And they're saying, well, we can get you more money than YouTube does and these other platforms, and we have a more generous distribution scheme, and as we grow, you'll grow with us. We'll give you basically dividends. Okay, that's all well and good, but as I told them, you have the opportunity, if you truly do not censor the content, you would be one of the very few to do that. And if you support this group, this community, one of the things about this community, and I talk to you guys up and saying this is one of the most, this is a very loyal community, and they're committed, right? Because unlike people who are into entertainment, let's say people who want to watch videos about cooking, or even let's say the Kardashians, right? They can easily be, go off to the next big thing, or they just get bored with it. This community has changed their entire life. This is the central aspect of their life. This content. And so, not necessarily me or anything, but this community, right, is now the central part of our lives, because we've been ostracized from the rest of society, and this is our family, and so we want to be with our family, and so this gives us, and I think, as I told them the opportunity to be a central gathering point for that, especially if they would update some features, improve their chat functionality, offer some direct messaging and that sort of stuff to make the community aspect of it far more robust, as we like to say on Wednesday nights at Secrets of Saturn. If they would operate or offer a few more of these things, then they would have an opportunity to be a place as a true alternative to some of the other platforms. And so anyway, we'll see how that goes. I'm not necessarily singing their praises just yet. I know Karen B is a little bit set back because he had a meeting with them and they didn't fulfill that. Of course, things happen. So we'll see what happens. I mean, so far I think Jason Lindgren and Jaron have been pretty happy over there. And that's okay. We'll see you soon, Don. I love you. And I'm so glad you got a great house. Super exciting. Your kids get a place to play in the backyard. Tell them Grand Dazzle says hi. So so this is the state of the state, I guess, the state of information right now. And if you caught the title, In Formation, right? Trying to get everything all lined up. So we're going to see, and I'm going to kind of play a little bit of the guinea pig, certainly not in a medical or medical sense, but I'm going to try to see what I can do about testing out some of these other platforms. And here's the issue, right, is that I'm not one of the content providers that does this full time, only kind of on the weekends and the evenings and whatever time I can get into it. So it is going to be a little bit challenging, maybe a bit slow going, as opposed to some of the others who can do this as their job, their primary source of revenue and time. And at this point, I'm not yet prepared to do that, of course, although, as you know, I'd like to move toward that. It just it's coming. It's just going to take a little bit more time, because I need to make sure that I have a way to, take care of my family and do that without so much leaning on you guys and, asking for money. I know some people are okay with it, and I just have never been comfortable in asking for it. Now, so many of you have been so terribly, terribly kind and generous and supported this channel, and I appreciate it. And one of the things it's allowed me to do is to help others. In fact, this last week, while we were off the air, was able to reach out and help out our friend David Reif, who many of you know in the chat. Great guy, just super good kid, and we have so much in common. He and I got to meet at the Flat Earth Festival and the Solar Return. And so I got nudged just in some conversations I was having with him to, help him out a little bit and give him from the slush fund that you guys help generously donate to me. So I sent him over a couple $100, and then like 2 hours later, he's a tree trimmer. He got a tree service, and he had something like an 80-pound thing fall on him from a very high, like 20 feet or something. It was crazy, and didn't break his leg, but it almost did, and he had posted pictures of it. I was like, oh no, like hits keep on coming. So managed to scramble another couple $100 together. So we got like $500 we sent over to him this last week, thanks to your generosity. And again, if you're able to and you want to help him or anybody else out, just send it my way. And if you have somebody specific you want it to go through, you can certainly put that in the notes when you do so. Or if you just want to put it in the slush fund, or if it's for me, you can say that. But I have set aside a certain amount of money that just makes it easy for me to help people. And then I can ask later. I just assume that you guys are going to help out. You haven't let me down yet in helping other people out. So as we can, right? So there's that. Just keep in mind and try to keep a little bit there. And if someone's in need, let me know. And we'll vet that, make sure that we're able to help out. Sometimes, financial resources isn't really as helpful as, like Ceiling Fan Man said, prayer. Stuff like that, or just the community coming around somebody. That can sometimes be far more helpful than just throwing a couple of bucks somewhere. All right, so yes, all right. So we have, so it would have been this week, but we will start almost certainly next week. We'll figure out all the technology to make it go. We'll do multi-streaming across platforms. I'll give you a heads up on that when we get to social media. Probably I might even tweet. Who knows? God, I never tweet. I'm just not a twit, I guess. But will even make a brief announcement here on YouTube and giving you links to the other platforms, know where to go, so that we can find a place to migrate to. And so for the moment, here is my plan, is to continue to be here and keep this channel available on YouTube. However, this likely will be here's my thought, right, is I'm going to do the Sunday morning streams, which is Ancient Wisdom for a Modern World. Will probably stay here, because if they attack that for reading scripture, I think it'll be very clear. They, right, that's something you can go to the media with and go, hey, they pulled it for a community strike guideline, for community guideline strike for reading scripture. We'll see if what happens there. But that allows for a greater audience. And perhaps the Sunday evening stream, Sola Scriptura or Sorta Scriptural, will probably continue to be on YouTube as long as it's allowed. Unintended Consequences as a program, and the others that I have in mind, because I want to move forward with a variety of different things and diversify a bit. And this is, again, in part why I need to make some changes with my schedule about work, so I can do a bit more diverse things here in the community, because there's a few things I want to be able to provide. But much of that content, especially anything that is going to be in any way controversial, speak to directly to the topics that brought us here, that will probably be necessarily on another platform. So you may see announcements or the beginning of a program on YouTube, and then I'll drop it, much like many other content providers. Glowbusters does this, Jaron does this, a number of other content providers. I think Brian does this. So you introduce the show, bring it on YouTube to get those notifications out as so much as they provide them, which is not often. And then once it's introduced, then traveling over to another platform. My intention, as I discussed with the guys at Rockfin, on the Rockfin platform. So keep in mind that one. And a lot of people have expressed some misgivings and some reticence to pay for another service. So let me see if I can set this up for you. And again, I understand, right? Money is tight for everybody. And it certainly feels like, again, with a lot of content creators asking for support, as they should. Again, you wouldn't work for free, I don't think. And so there's so many people, I say so many, there's some very loud people in the community going, truth should be free and you should never charge for it. And I mean, the truth is out there, but yeah, if you want to go get it yourself, go get it, right? And certainly from my perspective and the content of this channel is far less to provide educational content, like, for example, say Brian going over the Mandela effect, or Crow 777, who asked some of these direct questions, or Strange World with Mark Sargent, Karen B, looking specifically at the aspects of the nature of flat Earth, right? I don't, like I said, there was never the intention of this channel to do that, although I will for sure get into the research that I've done with water and look in even deeper into the next steps that I'm going to take in terms of vibration, sound, frequency, magnetics, and healing. So that's a new thing that I've set forth. I've got now 3 full sets of tuning forks, solfeggio, chakra, and healing. I'm going to get the biomagnetic, the biofield magnets, and get started on that. And then using a combination of tuned frequency music, as well as some of these other specific frequencies and vibrations and semantics. I'm going to start doing some interesting stuff in the lab and see what we can come up with, because I think there's some possibilities there. So we'll more on that as it comes, but I want to do some work specific to that. Again, this is going to take an additional amount of time, and this is part of the plan, is to exit from the current situation that we're in Seattle, move across the country. It looks like at this point, again, the best candidate is the Southeast and the Kakalaki region, and work with Cammie and Zach and some other folks and see what we can do about better understanding the nature of our world. And in at the same time, looking for some opportunity for property that a few of us who are interested in doing so can get together and have a communal lifestyle. And so, I say communal, I don't necessarily mean, I got out in some weird nudist colony. But no, I just, that we're going to be a sustainable community working for the benefit of one another and just getting out of the matrix. That's the plan. I know a lot of people are interested in it. We've got about 30 or 40 people that we're talking to on a regular basis and seeing what we can do to make that come to fruition and manifest it. And so that is my position at this time. And it's hard to shake me off once I get started. I'm kind of a bulldog. So I am, in a way, counting on you guys. Orgy, right? Or I was always told that orgy was 2 guys and 1 girl, and one guy's with a girl, and the other guy's going, orgy, I wish I had a girl. No. Sorry. Jokes don't get any better. And so we're going to begin having a number of conversations with people who are interested in that possibility. Again, I'm taking a fairly large risk here, and I'm counting on you guys, because we're going to be in proximity with each other and committing our lives to each other. So it's going to be, necessary that we get to know each other well and everybody be comfortable with it. But we'll talk more about that as it progresses. So there's that. And so that will be, again, likely a channel specific to that. So let me get back to the Rockfin thing. So Rockfin is basically like any other service like Netflix or anything else. You don't have to pay $10 for every content provider. It's $10 a month for all the content providers, which is why, in part, trying to get some other people in our community over there. And one of the things that I talked to those guys about is I mentioned it this last week on a couple of streams, but I talked specifically to the VP of Development yesterday about it. And so I think they're hip to the idea, and we just have to kind of get established and move forward. But that is to create a community channel there, so not just my channel or Rose's channel or Jason's channel, but a community channel for those, for example, like Wayne McCroy or Ceiling Fan Man, who just don't do this all the time, and it would be probably just not worth the return on investment to develop another platform entirely. But if we could be the intermediary, basically set up like a 24/7 channel, like Bob at Globebusters has done on YouTube, a 24/7 channel, but where we can put together some of the content from smaller channels, for example, like Miss Mays, or like Jenny Spark, who put together, they're starting new stuff, and we can put those out and bring everybody to one centralized place. So I think that's a possibility, and that brings everybody to one platform, allows you to, if you're going to spend the money, right, to get there. But certainly so far it has been no problem at all with censorship. They support the idea of freedom of speech. They're not interested in keeping us from saying whatever they want. They giggle a little bit when they, hear about flat Earth or whatever, but they're not interested in censoring it or putting a little box at the bottom and saying Wikipedia says this. That's not their interest. And so my position is, if we can, as a community, show them what we're about. And again, we don't know yet. It's unknown. We're talking to them, right? And so people are already starting streams there. I will be beginning next week. Again, would have already if it was done. So we're going to see what happens, and we're going to try again other platforms. I got accounts on Odyssey and several different things. So we're gonna see what happens, and I'll play. We're just going to play around with them and see what goes on. If I had the time and really wanted to sit down and work on them, and probably develop our own platform, but I just don't see the return on investment right now because of the level of investment it would take to do that. But boy, wouldn't it be nice? I just don't know right now, and this is where I guess you guys can slap me. I don't know that there's enough users out there. Best I can come up with is, 1.5 million, 2 million worldwide, maybe something like that. I don't know. How many downloads does Dave Weiss have for his app? So I'd say probably 20% of downloads on that app is going to be people who would be in our group. So anyway, we have to kind of look at that. But people are starting to do some stuff. We've got a Flat Earth dating app, right? You don't have to be a ball believer on flatearthonly.com. So so people are doing that, and I know again we've talked more and more about this, the premise of being able to support those in our community by pushing, promoting one another's businesses and that sort of stuff. So those are just in the same way we do with channels. Right, we talk about this all the time, supporting each other's channels and making sure that we're inclusive, right? And we're not competing with one another. We're all part of the same family. And again, that's something that I just love about this family. In addition to the fact that we take care of one another and show love to one another, we support one another. I just fucking love that, man. You guys are the best. So this is where it's going over the coming weeks, and so I realize. Liz, thank you so much. I appreciate that. By the way, if you haven't spent any time over at Iron Realm Media, Best Kept Secret and Flat Earth, their Friday show is bomb. Always the cool tribe over there, Zach and Cammie hanging out, and the whole Walt, and we got the whole crew over there. Savage. And anyway, check it out Friday afternoons, and even occasionally I drop in. It's a pretty wacky place. So, but that's the kind of thing. This is for me so much more. And again, I love the fact that it is community, right? So I think everybody brings different things to community. You got some people who are bringing new and original content, and here are places to do some research. Other people, doing different stuff. From my perspective, right, it's less about that. Although I do plenty of research on my own and contribute on Secrets of Saturn. For me, right now, the impetus is to support this community and make sure that you guys have a place to be, a place to hang out, right? Not just like we're going to, just open up a chat, like 24/7 streaming, but with chat. I mean, I guess we could, right? But for an opportunity to get together, right, and hang out in our little virtual church, as it were, without it being churchy. So anyway, that's really the primary meat of what I've got for you this morning, guys. Right, I was going to test and do a tech check on all multi-streaming to all these channels. It looks like I have a couple more things to do to make certain that happens, and I'll spend some time this week. So if not next week, 1st of June, I think we'll have everything worked out, not only with that, but at least an idea of a specific channel that's going to deal with the poppy cult, if you will. And then I know that Rose and I are planning to do the Poppycock Report on on Rockfin, and we'll probably look at some other channels as well. But, keep your eye on this channel as well as social media for where some of those channels are. Again, some of it's going to be somewhat experimental. I'm going to try multicasting. I'm going to try doing different things here and there and see how it goes. So, and part of my intention is really to see, hey, Rob, that's include another oh, TrueTube. Awesome. Yeah, so let me check that out as well. Thank you so much for the suggestion. And I'm absolutely, again, just looking for a variety of places to see where we can go that makes sense, where we can all get together, that's got the features that we want to see, that is uncensored, and a way that we can communicate to one another. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, I guess, is that I see the end of the line coming for our friends at YouTube. It's not a surprise, and right now it's not with any animosity. I mean, it has been an opportunity, I suppose, to get to know you, and a place that we could come to get to know one another. But certainly, when a situation or relationship becomes toxic, as this relationship seems to be becoming toxic, and that is from their position, then you have to look at other options, like removing yourself from that relationship. So a traveling truth teller, I love that. In fact, one of the things, Mark, that I am planning on doing, this is what was the precipitating factor for me buying all these tuning forks, right, was to get back into this healing thing. I used to do quite a bit of healing work back in the day. Still have the heated massage table, just life and other things kind of got in the way. And of course, moving back to Washington State, I wasn't able to legally pursue that as a career option here. But there are some loopholes here and there that you can do when you're not doing it for money, quid pro quo, that sort of thing, and depending on the state, but using a variety of methodologies and modalities to help do healing. That's not feedback. It's interesting. I did that. I did some work with my wife this morning, and she was a bit skeptical. She's like, kind of like I was with the acupuncture, right? She's like, well, I gotta come at it closed-minded and go, screw this is stupid. But okay, sounds a little woo-woo to me. And yet, after I had done a variety of frequencies, she's like, how do we do this again? Can we fix this? And so, very interesting. I've noticed in just a few days that I've had them, a remarkable already sense of clarity. And it does seem to sort of clear your aura. I know, again, it sounds super weird, but again, if we are dealing with frequency and vibration in such a way that it affects it, well, it's absolutely science. It's sciencey. Because what would happen is the sound, the vibration of the sound would modify and modulate the electromagnetics. And so it would modulate the frequencies, and literally you would become entrained to it. You would become entrained to a new frequency. I can't imagine it not working, actually. It's kind of weird. So I'm going to pursue this. So I think, well, by the time we get together for the next get-together, maybe I'll have something to bring besides coffee. We'll see. But I certainly think with the mindset and with the intention It will help not only me and those around me, but I think it will help the content here. And that's the other thing I would add is in the move to do more full-time content, my hope and my desire actually is to do better created content, somewhat less live stream, and more created videos because those I can do pretty good work there. I just don't have the time, and I would love to do some, especially when it comes to the water. I think that it would probably be best served. There's so much there, and I think it would be best served to go through that series as much like Mark Sargent did with the Flat Earth Clues, go through the water as a series because there is so much to it, and that's when I'll have to work on as a video presentation. So, and that's the kind of thing, for example, on something like Rockfin that might be premium content, right? Just if I want to put the kind of effort into it, just something there. But I'm always going to have free content. There's never, it's never for me about the money, right? The paywall, the whole point of a paywall, guys, from our position, is simply to keep freedom of speech. Right? If they're going to shut us down and block our ability for you to come, for us to come get together and talk about what if we want to, again, yeah, the money helps. Nobody, you'd be naive. Anybody would be naive to say that it's not helpful and it's not so appreciated and just tickles my love bone when people make donations because I generally don't ask. Right, and so it just means that they've been nudged to do it, and they appreciate the content. I love that, and I love you guys, and so I rarely would ask for it. But then we get to something like this, it's a premium service, and people are like, pay for. But again, the more people, the more content creators that we can get there, the better value it is for those in the community. Because again, you're just paying one amount for the entire service, and you can get all the content. That's why I want to try to bring a community content channel, so we can kind of put more of that stuff over there. And I'd like to have a channel that would be great to be able to send newbies, right? Send your blue pill friends to, with maybe some safe content. And maybe that's redundant. Maybe already Dave Weiss has got that covered with his app and his daily video. But I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Just trying to, again, find a way to purpose this, because ultimately what I get to is that we are going to have to make some changes, and we have to think ahead and be creative, and we adapt, improvise, overcome. So with that, again, I think there's no sense in belaboring the point. I think that's really the information that I wanted to give out. Hi, Melanie. I'm glad I went long enough to see you come. So I think that's the information I want to give out, is that is where we're at right now. There's going to be some changes coming, but I'll continue to keep this channel open. Primarily what you'll see here is going to be announcements. The Sunday programs, at least certainly the Sunday morning program, Ancient Wisdom for a Modern World, will continue to be here until they throw me off. Right? I'm not a guy that just gives up and folds up easily. I will fight until, I'll go down swinging. But I will also, say that it's I'm not going to count on them, right? They're not to be trusted. And I have seen this over and over. And that's one of the things that I've gone through in the last couple of weeks, right? Is that reminding myself that if you give people enough time and pay close attention, they'll always show you who they are. It's simply up to you to pay attention and to respond appropriately. So Facebook, or not just Facebook, but YouTube has shown us who they are. And so it's up to me to respond appropriately. And that is to give myself the best chance to reach the most people in a way that allows you guys to be comfortable as well. It's not just about me, right? We need a place that the chat works, and that you guys can relate and communicate and stay in contact with one another. It's far less entertaining and enjoyable, and I think effective, if I just stand up on a soapbox, right, and talk to you guys. It's much better if we can talk to each other and sort of hang out. So whatever we can do to help facilitate that. So anyway, this is where we're at. We're going to diversify, look at a number of different channels. I may reach out to a couple of people specifically and ask them to monitor those channels. So when I do multi streams, if they would be able to check out that other channel as well, things like Odyssey or Daily Motion, to see what's going on with that, and kind of just monitor that, and perhaps be if you guys are interested in modding those channels. So insofar as they have that capability, take a look at that as well. Again, just trying to be helpful and, I guess professional at the same time, just make it all work. Oh, your brother has a new page. Well, awesome, Cammy. And so, and then I think the last thing from time to time I come up with this, right? Just questions and ideas, and think about ways to do it. If you got suggestions or things you'd like to see more or less of on the channel, go screw yourself. No, I was kidding. No. Get stuffed. No, I'm kidding. No, it's helpful for me to understand what the things that you find most helpful. So I'm not going to, I'll be honest, I'm not going to change the channel because, I want this, so I'm not going to chase you around and try and to make everybody happy. That's not my intention. The intention is to, again, be of value, provide value, and make sure that I'm listening to you, and make sure that, again, it's helpful. It's a place that you want to come and you feel comfortable, and that improves the quality of your life. It is offers respect and is honoring of the time that you choose to spend here, because I am honored and I'm very grateful, and again, deeply humbled that you would choose to spend the time with me. And I love to spend the time with you, and I take time away from other things to spend time with you. And again, clearly it's not about the money or, fame or fortune or any of that stuff. My wife and I talk about it pretty frequently as she follows other channels, and we kind of, comment about how you can tell the difference between somebody who's really into their topic and somebody who's just got a channel trying to be a YouTuber, and I had never had any intention of being a YouTuber whatsoever. I just saw an opportunity that so many people were feeling alone and isolated when I started reading all these responses from the Awakening Project, and I just thought, this is something that's necessary, right? A way for us to get together, and for you to know that you are not alone, and you are not the crazy one. Well, okay, we're crazy, but in a good way. And with that, again, I think I don't want to belabor the point, so that's what's coming. I'll make an announcement. I'll probably upload a video this week showing you where all those links are as each one is established, and do test videos on each one as you begin to see it. And I don't know if I will re-upload content to there, although it may be a good idea, because if this channel ever drops, I would need to get all that content. I do have backup recordings of pretty much everything that we've done live. Everything that I do via OBS, almost everything runs through OBS, and I make a backup copy. I make a live recording of that, so it's on hand in case that ever happens. So it is available. But it is an opportunity for us to kind of look around, and for me, certainly, to see what works well with each one. I may do a music-only stream somewhere on maybe Twitch, right? Maybe that makes sense to do, to separate it and do different platforms with different stuff, and do more of the spiritual, the Sunday type streams somewhere, and then do the the woo stuff somewhere else. I don't know. I'm just telling you, we're going to look at it. We're going to try to figure this out, but looking at options, because it's certainly necessary. And kind of the old saying that somebody's got to be the first penguin, right? So the emperor penguins, they get all up there at the water, the mothers and the fathers, and the birthing parents and the non-birthing parents. They trade off between feeding and watching the egg. And so when the alternate, like when the males all go, after the females come back, they all go and they get to there and they got to go jump in the water, and they know that the leopard seals are down there ready to eat them, but somebody's got to be the first one in, and so you got to be the first seal in the water. And I know that that's probably not me. I know, again, Brian Stavely and others have certainly run the gamut before me. I know Jason Lindgren, for one of the first into Rockfin, as well as Jaron Campanella. So again, hats off to those guys, but I'm just going to try a whole bunch of stuff, throw it all up against the wall, see what sticks, report to you my findings, and have you guys report to me what it's like to experience it on those platforms. And then we'll see, If your pen friend jumped off a cliff, would you? Well, it's just an ice wall. No, wait, I'm just kidding. God, that coffee's so good. Okay, kids, do you have anything you want to throw in the chat? Is there anything you want to add or that I missed? And certainly I missed you guys. I got to tell you, in the time away, it was necessary. I needed the time to kind of get my head together, and certainly all the things that I was addressing at that time. But it was very helpful just to get a sense of perspective. But I sure missed you guys. Yeah. I love your papers, Mark. If you haven't seen Mark Bloom's thought pieces, that's good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Hey, Nathan, commercial sound and video. Great to see you, my friend. I'm sorry. I saw that I missed your call the other day. I don't know why. I didn't even catch that ring, and then I meant to call you back. I forgot by the time I got back to it. So if you're around this weekend, I'll just see if I can find you and call you right back. So I apologize for that. Again, it's been really challenging the last few weeks to really stay on top of things. Between being ill and all the schedule changes and trying to get a new schedule together has been super challenging. And again, I apologize if I've kind of left anybody hanging. It's not my way usually, but we're yeah, I know the coffee is so good, right, Ronald? All right, guys. So much love to you, and but again, I have missed you terribly, and I'm so glad to be back. And we'll get it all figured out. I will definitely be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for Ancient Wisdom for a Modern World, definitely for sure. And then most likely back tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. It's kind of depend a little bit on some of the technology stuff and trying to get all that worked out. But we're definitely going to be back tomorrow morning, and that'll be here, as well as maybe some other stuff. We'll see what happens there. But by next week or the week thereafter, we'll definitely have a big multi-streaming just cavalcade. It'll be a 3-ring circus. All right, you guys are awesome. Let me find some tunes to get you out of here with. There are so few of them, and someday maybe I'll go through and people have asked, so I might give you a full history of the band and how this all came to be and what's going on. People have asked for some music, so that's another thing. And again, I just have to organize my time better, and so that's just something that I need to work on. And you know, yeah, everything takes time. So first things first, take care of the channel, take care of you guys, and we'll see. We'll get it all going. But my intention is absolutely to get out of here, get out of Seattle, and show up in Kakalaki, and get the boots on the ground and get going. And so with that, we'll leave you with a little tunage. This is more than I've ever seen. 1994, something like that. And this was recorded in about 2002 in Redding, California. So that having been said, much love to you guys. Do be well and just be. My body is weary, but darkness on every